Hey everybody, it's Tom Cherryholmes with the FujiNet project, and I wanted to make a video showing off the AdamNet Serial support that I just checked into master. This is very basic support for the serial port functionality that was a part of the AdamNet Serial Interface that was prototyped but was never released by Coleco. It was a bit of an interesting challenge to get this to work, especially since the ROM dumps and disassemblies had some corrupt data. So I had to work backward from the CPM BIOS implementation in order to see how this thing was supposed to work. If we take a look at the top left corner of the screen here, we see a picture of the prototype interface, which we have encased in just this acrylic case here. There are two of these known to exist. This is one of them, and if we take a look at it, we can see it's just very bare. One of the interesting things that you will notice that it does not use the AdamNet RJ12 connections that are typical for AdamNet peripherals, but rather uses the 9-pin AdamNet/power connection, which means that it's expected that this was to be hooked up to an external power source here. But also the reason why this was here was to essentially take and shunt the printer input and output, and instead with the switch that's right here on the bottom to be able to select between using the SmartWriter printer or using the intercept functionality that's in the ROM to send SmartWriter output out to the parallel port. Some of the bits and pieces that are in here, you'll see that there is a Signetics 2651 UART here. There is the 6801 and program ROM. This is the EEPROM version of 6801 here. You'll see some glue logic and some latches for the parallel port, and essentially the connectors, everything needed here, plus all your passive components. So, I mean, all in all, a pretty tidy design here. And the serial port is over here on the left with the DB25. The parallel port seems to be a rather standard 36-pin Centronics Amphenol connector. So making this work was kind of interesting to say the least, especially since I had to take and work backwards from the implementation inside of CPM to make sure that this is right. We can see, for example, if we go ahead and boot up certain applications like AdamCalc, for example, you'll see that it now notices that there's a serial port there. The serial port sits on AdamNet device 14, which is hex 0E. And because it's now there, you'll see here in just a moment, disk drives, and then there's the serial port right there. Bam. So it sees it, although it currently doesn't seem to do anything with it. It's rather interesting, to say the least, but it seems to detect it nonetheless. Okay, then. So I'll go ahead and just, since we're not really going to do anything with AdamCalc here, I'm just going to reset my Adam real quick. Instead, we're going to go ahead and boot into CPM. And this is a standard version of Coleco's CPM, personal CPM. No patches have been made, no IO byte changes have been done. As you'll see, it'll just go to the console here. Now, by default, the way that the serial port is mapped, the TTY and punch, reader and punch devices are mapped to the serial port. So this means if I use pip, for example, let me bring my keyboard over here a little bit. If I use pip to redirect a file to the TTY, and we connect over here, you'll see I have a terminal program, sync term, and it's set up currently to connect to FujiNet at port 1235. Yeah, this is tentative. I'll figure out a better port number and everything else, but if we connect, it will sit here and wait until we need to use the serial port. If there's a waiting connection, it will then make a TCP connection and connect the two sockets together and start working. So, for example, if I take and send help out to the TTY, we'll see the output come out over here on sync term. Now, you'll see right now, because CPM is sending out one character at a time, and because there seems to be some overhead as to how the serial routines are implemented, it's not spitting them out that fast. This might be an opportunity to try and figure out by the community to see how we can make this a bit faster. But as you can see, we can send stuff out the TTY and we can send stuff back. And to finish this demonstration here, I'm actually going to take and send the console over to the TTY. And we'll now see that the Adam display has stopped, and we have a display over on sync term. We're sending over and out. So, I mean, you can see it works. It's not fast, but again, this is still beginning. I think we can make this faster. I could really use the help to try and make this faster. But it works, and you have an 80-column display. So with that, I'll go ahead and end the video here. Just wanted to show you guys where things were at this particular point in time. So until next time, guys, have fun.